happening in U.S. politics. For now, let's begin with the U.S. President Donald Trump's impeachment hearings. For the first time ever, the American public watched the Democrats make their case for impeachment against the president. They heard on a live broadcast on their televisions the very witnesses whose testimony is at the core of the Democrats' investigation. Now, during a detailed opening statement, the top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine, William Taylor, said a member of his staff, and not him, had overheard a telephone call in which President Donald Trump inquired about quote-unquote investigations. Taylor took that to mean investigations into former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden. Mr. Taylor told investigators that he was alarmed to learn that the United States President was also withholding security assistance to Ukraine.
It's one thing to try to leverage a meeting in the White House. It's another thing, I thought, to leverage security assistance to a country at war, dependent on both the security assistance and the demonstration of support. It was much more alarming. The White House meeting was one thing, security assistance was much more alarming.
The House Intelligence Panel quizzed both Taylor and the U.S. State Department's George Kent about their knowledge of whether the president used his office to pressurize Ukraine officials for personal political gains. Republicans, on the other hand, retorted that the Democrats still have nothing more than second- and third-hand knowledge of allegations.
Ambassador, you weren't on the call, were you? You didn't listen on President Trump's call and President Zelensky's call?
I did not.
You've never talked with Chief of Staff Mulvaney?
I never did.
You never met the president?
That's correct.
This is what I can't believe, and you're their star witness. You're their first witness. You're the guy. You're the guy based on this, based on, I mean, I've seen church prayer chains that are easier to understand than this.
William Taylor's admission has the potential to be a major twist, that too in the Republicans' favor. Remember, there has yet to be evidence tying Mr. Trump directly to the alleged quid pro quo. The senior Republican on the Intelligence Committee, Devin Nunes, a staunch ally of the president, denounced the inquiry as a televised theatrical performance staged by the Democrats. Now, with the first televised hearing successfully concluded, the edge squarely going to the Republicans, with diplomat Taylor's account of a conversation his staffers overheard not necessarily sounding like the nail on the head that the Democrats have been looking for. And therefore, these hearings are to continue in the coming weeks. Gordon Sondland, the U.S. ambassador to the EU, is scheduled to testify next week. He is the very man William Taylor talks about allegedly receiving instructions from the president. If Sondland speaks in support of Taylor's account, it could undercut Donald Trump's defenders, who may have won this round. And so how does impeachment actually pan out? Let's also break it down for you, as the U.S. Constitution gives the sole power to the House of Representatives to impeach an official, and it makes the Senate the sole court for impeachment trials. Our next report explains the impeachment proceedings and the trial.
Impeachment is a rarely used tool to oust a sitting US president from power. The two-step process begins if lawmakers consider a president is guilty of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors according to the US Constitution. The initial vote takes place in the House of Representatives, and a simple majority is needed. In the event of impeachment, the case then moves to the Senate for an impeachment trial. A two-thirds majority is needed for conviction in the 100-member chamber. If that happens, the president is automatically removed from office with no possibility for appeal. Although no US president has ever been ousted from office under impeachment proceedings, two were impeached by the House of Representatives but ultimately acquitted in the Senate: Andrew Johnson in 1868 and Bill Clinton in 1998. Richard Nixon resigned in 1974 to avoid certain impeachment by Congress over the Watergate scandal. Any federal official suspected of serious wrongdoing can be prosecuted by Congress under the impeachment process.